What's up, everybody? This is Mario, and welcome back to another episode of Talking Endurance and Mastery. And today, what we're talking about is this idea of discipline being contextual. So, I want you to think about it. Are you a disciplined person? And I want you to think even deeper about that. What part of your life are you disciplined? Or what part of your life are you undisciplined? Well, I'm going to tell you a story about how discipline is contextual and how you can be disciplined in one area of your life, but not in another. And this is actually a good thing. So, if you want to learn how to be more disciplined, then stick around for the rest of this episode. I am going to roll the trailer and then we're going to get right into it. Do you want to complete an endurance event and elevate all areas of your life, but you don't know where to start? Then you're in the right place. Talking Endurance and Mastery is a podcast to help you create a vision and take steps towards your goals and dreams. I'm your coach, Mario Minner. I've completed events like Ironmans and ultramarathons, but I believe the true benefit from endurance events is how they help you become the best version of yourself. Join me as I share stories, lessons, and interview guests to help you apply endurance and mastery principles into every area of your life. Are you ready? Let's go. All right, everybody, welcome back. So the inspiration for today's podcast came from an episode that I was listening to recently on the Business Made Simple podcast with Donald Miller, where he was interviewing Craig Groeschel. And the topic that they were talking about was how discipline is contextual. Now, Donald Miller, if you're not familiar with him, he is the founder of Business Made Simple and StoryBrand, and he is an author, and he's written like 10 different books. I'm going to just guess. He's maybe even more. And he's a very successful businessman. And he was telling this story with Craig on that episode about how he actually believes that he's not a disciplined person. And when Craig was asking him about why do you think that's true, the reason why Donald Miller said that was because he was once over 300 pounds. And he, through focusing on his diet, focusing on his nutrition, he ended up losing over 150 pounds. But he still, to this day, has this idea of himself being an undisciplined person. And he believes that he doesn't have discipline. Now, when he was kind of asked a few more questions by Craig, what he realized is that he is actually disciplined when it comes to his writing. Because clearly, if you think about writing a book, that to me is something like running a marathon or running an ultra marathon, which is something that you just don't do in a couple of days. It requires days, weeks, months of disciplined and consistent effort to sit down and like write something, put it out there, rewrite it, edit, and just bang your head against the wall. Like clearly, anybody who writes a book is a disciplined person. And so through this story, Donald Miller realized that discipline is actually contextual, and he can believe that he is disciplined in this area of writing. But when it comes to exercise and nutrition, he maybe isn't as disciplined. And so discipline is contextual. And the reason why this was kind of resonating with me is I've never really thought about it that way, but as I'm reflecting on it with myself, I actually agree with that because I do 100% believe that I'm extremely consistent and extremely disciplined when it comes to my training. And maybe you are the same way. When it comes to training for a race or some type of an endurance goal or an endurance challenge, it's likely the case that you have a training plan and you know exactly what you need to do on a daily basis. But one of the things that I have been recently trying to work on is my discipline as a solopreneur. You know, when I'm running my business and it's really just me right now, it becomes really important that I stay disciplined and I stick to the activities that I say that I need to do. If I list out my weekly tasks, if I write down like what I need to do on a daily basis, it's been hard for me sometimes to stick to the thing that I know that I need to do that's a higher priority rather than chasing the thing that feels good or the thing that is kind of exciting in the moment. And so I'm realizing for me, as somebody who is like extremely disciplined when it comes to my training, I realize that discipline doesn't always carry over into entrepreneurship. But the reason why I'm telling this story and sharing this concept is I want to bring it back to you, because are you telling yourself that same story that you aren't disciplined, like Donald Miller was? Because if you are thinking about your goals, you're going to need discipline. And if you're the type of person who says, well, I'm just not that disciplined, I want to challenge you. And I want you to realize that discipline is contextual. And so this is where I want you to think about the different areas of your life. And maybe it's something with training. Maybe it's in your personal life. Maybe it's in your business. Maybe it's in some other aspect. And I want to ask you, like, what's one area of your life that you are super disciplined? And how is that working for you? How are you disciplined in that area? And once you realize what area of your life you are disciplined in and what is helping you be disciplined, the next question to ask yourself is, how can you apply that area of discipline to another area of your life? This is where you start to think about the part of your life where you're doing really well and you're doing a good job and you are disciplined. Realize, why is that happening and how can you apply that to whatever your current goal or challenge is. And so, as I bring it back to you, that's really the main point that I wanted to drive home today. Discipline is contextual, and I don't want you to believe the story that you aren't disciplined. What I really want you to do is spend some time today reflecting on what part of your life is discipline strong and how can you apply that to other areas. So that is what I have for today, and I want to leave you with this statement: that with grit and gratitude you can do anything.